We are all consciously or unconsciously aware of patterns that run in our lives. And I remember once in a Reading the Signs of Destiny class, a guy put his hand up when I was talking about patterns and how they work. And he said, I think I have an example, I get what you're talking about. And he said, every Christmas my mum buys a big ham, she cuts it in two, she puts it in 2 trays and she puts it in the oven. And like just one Christmas I thought, like, Mum, why do you buy a big joint of ham, cut it in 2, put it in 2 trays and put it in the oven? And she said, well, I don't really know, your nan always did. So he said, well, okay. So he went and asked his nan and he said, Nan, why does Mum buy a big ham joint and cut it in 2 and put it in 2 trays and put it in the oven? And his nan said, I don't know why your mum does that. I did it because I never had a tray big enough. And so it's a really, really simple story which shows how we can start living and repeating what our parents did, but we don't actually know why we're doing it. And his mum had a tray big enough for a big joint of ham and an oven big enough to take it. But she still continued to behave in the same way that she had perceived from her own mother without questioning it, without recognising that she had a tray big enough. And so it's a very simple and beautiful example of how patterns continue to inform us in our lives. But a lot of the time we don't even know that they're there because they become so habitual. And unfortunately, a lot of them are a lot more sinister than that. That was a very light-hearted story, but a very good example. But some of those patterns can be so ingrained and so self-sabotaging. And we can't understand why things keep happening in our lives, why we keep attracting these situations. It's because this pattern is so ingrained. And where it's ingrained is in our luminous energy field. And it's through the shamanic work, through the medicine wheel, that we begin to learn how can we honour the reason those patterns are there and reconcile them and then overwrite them. So we no longer have to keep attracting those situations or those patterns of behaviour back into our lives.